This show is not intended for the politically correct or the closed-minded. Enter at the risk of opening your eyes. You have been warned.
Why does the media attack an issue? To get primetime ratings?
In my line of work, you got to keep repeating things over and over and over again for the truth to sink in.
The Army Air Forces has announced that a flying disc has been found and is now in the possession of the Army.
A moment comes when we step out from the old to the new, and when the soul of a nation, long suppressed, finds utterance.
To kind of catapult the propaganda.
You are listening to Open Eyes with your host, Ira Robinson. From the normal to the paranormal, from government cover-ups to the depths of our consciousness, we aim to explore all things. From the dawn of prehistory to current events, no topic is forbidden and nothing remains hidden.
No more secrets.
Open your eyes and open your mind to the fact that life as we know it is not as we have been taught. Join us at latenightinthe-midlands.com or openeyesnetwork.com as we take this brief journey through the depths of the cosmos and explore what it really means to be human.
Many peoples have sacrificed their liberties, only to learn to their sorrow that deceit and mockery, poverty and tyranny are their reward.
Whether you're online or offline, intercontinental or intergalactic, hello and welcome to Open Eyes. It is Friday, January 20th. It is, I guess you could say Nobama Day. This is the day that Trump has been inaugurated as our 45th president, and we have a big show in store for you guys tonight. We are live and in person with you as always. You guys can call in tonight to 260-494-3937. Our Skype line is JDA Film. You can also reach us in the chat room over at lnmradionetwork.com or openeyesnetwork.com. Both of those places have the chat room available. All you have to do is click on the big blinking listen live button up at the top of the page. You can't miss it. It'll get you right there into the chat room and involved in the community. It's always a great time over in there. And we're also live streaming onto YouTube as always. youtube.com/C/Open Eyes Network is our YouTube channel. And you guys can watch us as we do our thing. Tonight we have a special guest coming on. Her name is Laura Eisenhower. For those of you guys that are not aware and have never heard of Laura, she is the great-granddaughter of Dwight D. Eisenhower, the former president of the United States. And she has done a lot of fabulous, absolutely amazing work over the years in regards to bringing out information. She's been a whistleblower. She's been an astrologist, a cosmic mythologist. She's just an amazing heart and an amazing person. And we've been really looking forward to having her on tonight. So if you guys want to call in and chat with her or ask her any kind of questions, I'm sure that it would be absolutely no problem at all. Again, 260-494-3937. So let's go ahead and bring Laura in here. Laura, are you still there with us?
Hey, Ira. Yes, I'm here.
Hi, Laura. So welcome to Open Eyes. It's such a great pleasure for me to have you on with us tonight because I'll tell you what, I've followed your work for a long time now, and I love the information that you've brought out, and I love the way that you're out there trying to help humanity overall.
I appreciate it, and thank you. My gosh, thank you so much for having me. It's really wonderful to be here.
Why don't we get started by letting the listeners know a little bit about yourself, if they've never encountered you or your work before. We have a lot of new listeners all the time, so why don't you give us a little bit of a background on yourself?
Well, I mean, it's a lifelong mission, I have to say. I mean, many lifetimes. I just really got the calling at a very young age. You know, Ike was also appearing to me, making himself known. The Magdalene energies were really strong in me. My father gave me the middle name, Magdalene. It just made sense to connect a lot of dots. I was recruited to go to Mars in 2006. and there was some, shadow government influence related to surveillance with pretty advanced technologies, not just in this incarnation, but in other incarnations. And there was a bit of a agenda or a psyops to get me to do certain things. And, I'm a free spirit, and I'm all about, greater investigations, and also just the honoring of free will and the path of, claiming who we are as sovereign beings. So with all that, it's amazing, like, all the different things that came to my awareness and attention. But it's been a lifelong thing for sure. It's been multi-lifetimes. And it's really about connecting the dots on multi-layers. We've got this density, this dimension, and then, but we have galactic wars that are still playing out, that affect our DNA and affect us on a physical level. And it plays a part in the way everything is sort of unfolding. What we see on the world stage is a part of that greater war, because there's a lot of propaganda and mind control. So it's not just, some kind of, human reality. It's much greater than that. There's all sorts of influences that are that we're dealing with. And so my role, or my goal, is to help individuals to step in alignment with spirit and one's own authenticity, to get those DNA upgrades, to get those frequency downloads, and to avoid the artificial intelligence signals that can be quite dangerous to our soul development. I'm not saying technology is bad. It's really about a balance, but mind control is a whole nother thing.
Oh, I absolutely agree with that. I've said for a long time now, I'm not a Luddite by any means. I love my technology. I'm all about it, but at the same time, I also know we as human beings, we're so immature yet. I mean, we don't even know how to handle, our associations with each other. And yet at the same time, we're doing everything that we can do to literally create the children of humanity and not have a clue how to deal with the repercussions of such an activity.
That's right.
I like your idea with free will too. One of the things that I've said over the years is we kind of need 3 rules to live by, I think. We have to have an understanding that we have the free will to do whatever it is that we want to do. I mean, we're sovereign beings within ourselves, and we have the capability or the ability to, have the free choice to do whatever we want. But at the same time, we can't do anything to interfere with the free will of another being. So that means, if, I have the free will to steal from you if I want to, but at the same time, there's that little second rule that says you can't interfere with their free will, so they don't have the free will to allow me to steal from them. And then there's a little third rule of, always take responsibility for your actions, no matter what they are.
Yeah, and these, greater laws, go beyond, the shortcuts that technology, in this era of wanting ascension to be sort of this utopian dream, where it's the technology that kind of saves the day instead of consciousness. I mean,
Right.
we just recognize the traps and find the balance, because, as long as we can incorporate everything and find wholeness and balance, it's the same thing as recognizing our authenticity as we move into unity consciousness. So we can't move into unity consciousness if we're still programmed and controlled. I mean, we can try. Same thing with technology. No matter how much it promises, until we understand how advanced our own human vessel is, it's not going to really serve us. It's only going to supplement and sort of deter us from getting to know ourselves and what we're truly made of.
Sure, exactly. I mean, the meat suits that we're wearing is not the end all be all of who we are, right?
No. Yeah. This skin jacket doesn't come with a zipper, but, beyond it, yeah, my goodness. We want to, experience these upgrades and move from carbon-based to crystalline, move into the silicate matrix and really go into, the higher earth energies while maintaining this physical vessel. But, rest assured, as long as consciousness can perceive these ascension energies, then consciousness will move through the gates. Even if we have to pick up another meat suit, it's okay. Because I think, people get really stressed, if there's injury or illness, how are we going to be able to raise the frequency of our physical reality? well, just focus on the consciousness, focus on integrity. Information's important, but, don't let it unground you or imbalance you. Remember, it's all within, and it's also about the integration right now of the mental, and the heart, the right and left brain, the masculine and feminine, science and spirituality. But, also recognizing that we've got more senses than we can imagine, way more deep. I mean, it's just, there's just so much. So we're the ultimate discovery, I think. So I'm just honored to be able to share presentations that can help inspire people to look again at this incredible potential we hold, because we're coming in with like 3-strand DNA, but we've got 12-strand and beyond potential in this window period to activate. And we're in a stellar activation cycle right now, which began in 2000. So supposedly this is the last year, 2017.
Really? I hadn't heard about that. That's interesting.
Yeah.
I wonder. Go ahead.
Just wording for the ascension window period.
Gotcha. Okay, I see what you're meaning. Yeah. Okay. I know that I've run across information about people that are now being born with 4 strands of DNA that they've found, and it really amazes me when I run across this kind of information, because it proves people like you correct, right?
Well, yeah, perhaps. Our DNA connects with the earth grids. When we look at 4, I mean, we are looking at, chakras. We're looking at, DNA strands that, connect to alchemy. If we look at the way that DNA is built, or if we look at, I think it's the nucleic acids. I mean, all these different things connect with earth, air, fire, water, just like the earth grids. So our DNA connects directly with the earth grids. And so this ascension is a co-creation. We have to be willing to step up to the plate and recognize our leadership roles. It's not just going to happen. I mean, it's part of changing our belief systems, our diets, getting out of bad relationships, and really recognizing the higher road and what it's going to take to shift our lifestyles, so that we can bring in these higher energies, because they're here. But there's also all kinds of, frequency distortions and modulations that are trying to snarl us in, kind of like, a fisherman sitting there hoping for us to bite the bait.
Well, it's funny that you mentioned that too, because I wrote a book called When Good Relationships Go Bad. And one of the things that I was going into in that book was the fact that people get so addicted to their emotions, and they will sort of subconsciously seek out ways to fulfill those addictions in these relationships that they get into. And they keep going through cycles of destruction, essentially, in their lifetimes, constantly seeking out this new, bigger and better thing each time, while at the same time they're just filling in these patterns that they have had on them since they were younger children or younger adults, for instance, and the relationships that they first had, first formed. And one of the problems is that at the same time, the people that they're getting together with are seeking out their own emotional addictions. And it's like there's almost this signal that's going out from our beings saying, okay, I'm seeking this type of thing to fulfill my addiction. And then the people come along and they sort of have that in themselves, so they're fulfilling that pattern for them. And with that in mind, it's something that I've seen in people's lives, that they go through these cycles over and over of these patterns of destruction. And it almost seems like it's more physical based than consciousness based. Like our consciousnesses sort of have no control over what happens there.
Right. It's almost like consciousness, catches up. Right. But then consciousness can also trump it. Funny, we have a president called Trump right now. You kind of ruined that. So I'm just glad Hillary's not there. I mean, it slows everything. I won't even go there right now. But there is a lot about the physical, but it impacts consciousness. So when consciousness, is going to go through a organic upgrade, and there are blocks because of heavy metals or frequency fences in the DNA or ancestral patterns, or, propaganda from the media or distortions of the masculine and feminine that keep the balance off and keep, things sort of looping in this time loop, it gets very difficult. We can override all that and it's that override frequency that's going to, start to shift things. But it very much comes at us on a physical level, and it impacts us on a very unconscious level as well. So imagine just becoming conscious. So when we look at like waking up, I mean, it's a joyous thing. Just the very act of waking up is something to celebrate.
Right.
It's a process, but it's going to take us somewhere. It's not just, oh yeah, there's conspiracy, or oh yeah, spirituality isn't just new age crap, or, what was passed down to us because our family's religion, blah, 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 blah. It's really that experience we have with life. Life is an intimate journey. Life experiences and everything that we go through. I mean, is there a better teacher? I think not. There are great masters, teachers, friends, instructors and guides and this and that. But, we need to really pay attention and, take the time to really look at, what's manifesting around us, and how can we work with it and raise the vibration of it and gain the greatest wisdom? Is there adversity or health issues that we can, raise the vibration of? Is there, lots of blessings and we feel like we have it all easy? Well, who can we maybe reach out to? It's just good to just step back and recognize, the universe never shuts down. So let's,
Right.
Pay attention to the landscape.
Well, I'll tell you, you give a great example there as far as handicaps or disabilities and that kind of thing goes. You could take, for example, something that's in my own life. I'm blind, but I don't let that stop me from doing what I need to do. And I don't let it hold me down either. But at the same time, it's also taught me how to be a lot more humble, to say the least, because I have to rely on folks. I have to rely on people for access of help. It's taught me how to be more conscious of my own self, and my self awareness, I think, has increased because of the fact that I went blind.
Wow, that's just incredible. Have you written or thought about writing a book? Or, I'm just so curious now about your story. My goodness.
I've considered it. With I guess you could say I've lived a very adventurous life, to say the least. But with my writing, I usually do science fiction and fantasy. I do some kinds of nonfiction, but I mostly write science fiction and fantasy, and I try to incorporate my own life story into the writings that are being told. I guess I feel that when someone reads a fictional story, it tends to impact them a lot more than when they're reading something non-fictional, because they can, I guess, more closely associate themselves with the character that's involved. And one of my purposes of writing is to try to impact people in some kind of way, to lead them away when they are finished reading it, to have them think, to have them be impacted by what they read. So.
Oh my goodness. Wow. Right. Absolutely. Yeah, like with some sort of transcribing or some sort of, maybe you're just able to, like, I don't look at the keyboard when I type. I get a sense that there's, you have like direct connect, and the downloads are just wanting to come in. And
oh yeah.
there's a bit of a sacrifice, and I don't want to make it sound martyrish, but you kind of gave something up in order to be able to open something up that needs to come through, and it's temporary. That's what I'm getting. I do clairvoyant sessions. I'm sorry, I just slip into.
Oh, that's okay. I know how it is. Definitely. I know when I do writing, I do writing style through the whole stream of consciousness kind of idea. I literally disconnect myself and I don't even think about what's being written. It just pours right on out onto the page. So it's always been that way for me. And
I just see this incredible flow, and you shut a switch off, but that will be turned back on, but there's a greater reason, and it's a gift for the rest of us. And so I just want to share just a lot of gratitude to you.
Well, thank you. I definitely appreciate it, to say the least. It's something that I love to do. It's something that I love to share with people, and hope that in some kind of way I can maybe teach them through what they're reading or what they're hearing when I do these shows, for instance. So I'd like for people to come away as changed people, to grow a little bit each time that they encounter me, if they can.
Yeah. Awesome. Oh my gosh.
Well, Laura, let's we did have a question that came in. They were wanting to go back a little bit to where you were giving your introduction. They were wondering if you could tell us a little bit more about the mission to Mars that you were offered, and maybe why you turned it down.
Well, it was in 2006, and it came in the form of somebody meeting me at a festival, and I just thought I clicked with this person, like, oh, wow, I met somebody. And as I got to know him and he's telling me about, the work he does, and we start seeing each other, and, it gets a little weird. And I'm like, okay, I've always had a strong mission since I was a kid, related to Gaia, related to this ascension. And when I met him, I do remember telling him a lot about it. But here we are. I had just moved from California. I was living with my mom. And I hadn't done anything kind of social in a really long time. And I was, I've been a single mom, or still am, of my twin boys who are now 18. At the time, I would say they were like 6 years old. And anyway, so I was at this festival and we clicked and we just spent the whole evening together. And later on, we determined we were dating, and I was in the DC area, staying with my mom, and he was going to secret meetings and was telling me about this Mars thing. And I just thought I met somebody who was going to go to Mars, and I could be, he could have met anybody else and said the same thing. But it wasn't until 6 months into the relationship that he said that he was specifically sent on a mission to pull me in. And there was something specific about me. Things got a little crazy because I refused to go. So no, I was not an active part of the secret space program, but I was recruited in 2006 to be a permanent colonist. He had a lot of handlers and a lot of things going on. I didn't have that terminology all figured out. He was like, we have a handler for you. And I'm like, I don't want a freaking handler. And, I'm a rebellious person by nature.
Yeah.
Come back around and I'll look at it again and be like, okay, what was that? But there's a certain frequency where when something's trying to control me, I have a kind of a knee-jerk reaction and I refuse.
That's exactly how I am too, Laura.
Nice.
I've always been that way. I've never been able to hold a quote real job for a very long period of time because I cannot stand anybody's having any control over what I do. I've always run my own businesses because of that.
Right. And the thing is, they don't scare me because what is there to be scared of?
Right.
When I need to stand in my power and say it like it is, and when I notice corruption and injustice, you better fucking run. That's all I can say.
Yeah, I definitely understand that. We do have to watch the F-bombs on the show, but I definitely know how it is. I'm that same way myself, especially when it comes to that sort of attitude. When I see people that are getting harmed in some kind of way, I can't help myself. I have to take action. It's just the way that I've always been. And I got myself into a lot of trouble when I was a kid over it too, I'll tell you.
Yeah, totally. So apologies for the F-bomb, but
no problem.
Yeah, I'm here to advocate for those who don't have a voice, for the innocent who, like we see, just nature, just wildlife, just, and I'm here to advocate for things that have been kept secret. I'm here to expose as much as I possibly can. But if you're going to mess with me, if you're going to, you've really messed with the wrong person. And I think they realize that.
Yeah, exactly. So I can definitely see how they probably have kind of run screaming from you from that point forward, haven't they?
They still mess with me. They've got age. I mean, it's every day. And I mess with them back. I'm really tired though, because they've really gotten in the way of my sessions, and they hire people specifically, to have sessions with me and to, interrupt my calls and to create all sorts of drama. And you would think, oh, that sounds paranoid, but I've tracked things, I have saved things, and I have done things that have actually caught them by surprise, because I think they think, oh, she must be tired, or oh, she's not keeping track. It's like, yes, I am. I've been doing this for years. I've been messed with for years. It's just, if you start to, I am going to take names and I'm going to save the messages. So very often I end up, busting them, and turning around and kind of holding them in that compromised position. But the thing is, it's tough love. I have unconditional love, and I want us all to just unify as a human race. The distortions connected to religion and just so many things, and the things that are passed down to us on a multi-generational level. I mean, I'll never lose the compassion, but and Ike helps me with this. He's been a spirit guide my whole life. When it comes to strategy, when it comes to putting the chess moves down, I don't compliment myself very often, but him and I, we got this stuff. We got it down. We got it down.
I definitely know how it is. And that's good. I mean, because there are a lot of people that are out there right now that are really, I guess you could say by design, infiltrating into these aspects of things. We get that with our radio shows, for instance, where people will either call in or they will do things to interrupt the broadcast out of nowhere. In fact, Michael last night on his show got interrupted twice when they started talking about George Soros. All of a sudden his computer decided to, out of nowhere, shut itself completely down. Just boom, it was off. No reason, no rhyme, no anything along those lines. Just that one little keyword gets mentioned on the show and suddenly, boom, it's done. So we've definitely encountered that kind of thing many times ourselves. It's very wearing to say the least, but at the same time, that you're doing the right thing, because if you weren't, they wouldn't be screwing with you, right?
Exactly. I mean, anybody doing a radio show, anybody, really helping a person to wake up to who they are and what they're made of, there's going to be a natural sort of targeting that comes along with it. There's real pre-planned type targeting, and then there's just the targeting. The minute you wake up, you're kind of on the radar,
Right.
And that's why the spiritual path is difficult. It's not just, let's just sit in a lotus position. I mean, we're having to not only kind of heal the galactic wars, we have to sort of look at, what part we played and do, things to clear us of entities and help us to move on from this parasitic, system, and to really connect with our guides and, the higher benevolent races that we're connected to. And we are actually, we're descendants of them.
Well, one of the things that comes to my mind when you're speaking there is this idea of helping people out. When I've talked to people, and I don't know if you've noticed this or not, Laura, but I'm assuming you probably have. When I talk to people about, truth stuff, trying to get them to understand different things as far as consciousness is concerned, or even if it's just, trying to reveal information about, certain events that take place or something along those lines, things that we do on these shows, for instance, or things that we write about or whatever. When you speak to them about these things, they get this glazed look on the face, and it's almost like they're downloading a patch file to overwrite the thing that you just inserted into them, the information that you just inserted into them.
Yeah. Something like that. I mean, I think there's just sort of this automatic response as part of this other programming. I mean, there's ethereal implants. There's things that were put in place 26,000 years ago so that during this window period right now, we wouldn't be able to get it together. I mean, because think about it. If the invaders, which we've already been invaded big time. I mean, the planetary body and just us as humans are the result of invasions to other planetary systems that dropped into this lower harmonic universe. So, I mean, there's a lot to the picture. But, we're experiencing all this on a soul level, and, the teacher is can be dark and it can be light, and that's where, this alchemy needs to return. There's a lot of manipulation with the earth grids and sacred geometries connected to the ether element. Now that the sun, ever since 2010, has crossed through the 13th sign, it's really giving us connection again to what it means to be alchemists, not in the chemist lab, but on a soul level.
Why don't we get back to that when we get back from the break? Let's go ahead and hit a break here real quick. And when we come back, we'll get right into that. How's that sound?
Sounds good to me.
All right. You guys are listening to Open Eyes. My name is Ira Robinson. Tonight we're here with Laura Eisenhower, and it's been really awesome so far. I love this lady. She's amazing. So make sure you guys stick around. 260-494-3937 to call in. Skype line is JDA Film. You can also reach us over in the chat room at openeyesnetwork.com or LNMradionetwork.com. Stick around. We'll be back in just a few minutes, folks. There are days that the red pill is bitter in my stomach, but I can't get it back out. I think because I have to. I speak because I have no choice. I walk through this dark age we're in with open eyes. Listen to Open Eyes on latenightinthemidlands.com. And together, maybe we won't stumble and fall.
The LNM Radio Network offers a chat room for you, the listener, to connect with others whom are interested in the topics and guests that the LNM Radio Network brings to you. During the live shows, the hosts will even visit the chat room and chat with you, the listener. Click on the big red Chat and Listen button at the top of the website and join us. No subscription is needed at either lnmradionetwork.com or latenightinthemidlands.com.
Why subscribe to Late Night in the Midlands, you ask? Well, I'll tell you why. Late Night in the Midlands covers everything, and through the thousands of expert guests who have joined Michael Vera on his show, come pieces of the big puzzle, which started many years ago. Michael and his guests reveal information dating back to the beginning of time. To this very moment, Michael Vera not only brings you the best guests with the best information, but Michael is not afraid to call out those who are less than honest. You see, in this day and age, we need a radio show we can count on and a radio host we can trust to expose the truth one show at a time. So become a late nighter and subscribe now. Talk radio like no other. Late Night in the Midlands, bringing the truth back to talk radio.
Do you need toner for your Epson, Hewlett-Packard, Canon, Brother, Apple, or Sharp printers? Look no further than Laser Technologies. In business for over 20 years, they offer the lowest prices on toner on the web. They can also repair your laser printers and toners fast and easy. Call their expert staff today at 561-792-9600 or email us at service@laser-technologies.com for all your toner needs. All toner is shipped nationwide. Why wait? Get the lowest prices on toner. Call or email us today.
Hello, folks. Welcome back to Open Eyes. My name is Ira Robinson. We're here tonight with Laura Eisenhower, and if you guys want to join in with us as a caller, go for it. 260-494-3937 is our call-in number. We're also available on Skype at JDA Film, and as always, you can reach us over in the chat rooms. OpenEyesNetwork.com is our homepage, and you guys can get access to all of our archives over there. All of the shows that we do, we've got not just Open Eyes, we've got Brothers at Arms, we've also got Adventures in Autism, and that's an awesome show for those of you guys out there that have any kind of family members with autism. You know, that's the show that we do regarding our son Seth, who is severely autistic, and our experiences with him, and some of the wonderful things that have gone on in our lives because of our influence of Seth, and just an amazing show. I think it's great, and hopefully you guys will tune into all of those. Again, OpenEyesNetwork.com. Laura, we are back. Hello.
Hey.
So before we hit the break there was somebody that gave a message in the chat room. They were wondering if you could go into how exactly are we supposed to transform from 3D to 4D?
Well, it's organically happening. It's more, how can we nurture it? How can we guide the process? You know, it's like if anybody has kids, or, I mean, any of us who are taking care of our own physical vessel, I mean, look at the micro. The minute you wake up to the minute you fall asleep at night, you know, what is going on all day long? You know, what are the things that you're supporting? What are the things that you are feeding? What are the things that are taking away? You know, what relationships don't serve you? What, you know, is a source of drain of life force? You know, if we can just step back and look at all that, and answer those questions, we can pretty much get on track, and then really live this greater purpose. Because once we get a handle on that, you know, and we emit that vibration into the world, you know, other people pick up on it. It becomes a resource. And we're not talking like having to figure out something that's beyond ourselves. We're not trying to find a God that's beyond ourselves either. You know, we have to, you know, settle in a little, you know, and trust that we got what we need. But for us to stay clear, we need, you know, basic integrity. You know, it's just the golden rule kind of stuff.
Right.
We don't have to fluff it up. We don't have to, you know, use things, or we don't have to run from ourselves and disguise it. So we need to look at where we see that happening without judgment, so we don't fall into the trap. Because the thing is, you know, our connection to nature, this ascension window period, and what we're made of is online. It's here. And I'm not talking computer online. You know, everything else out there, you know, can support. But we have to make wise choices so that that support, you know, has a balancing influence instead of a depleting influence. You know, and the balancing influence, you know, is a part of just being a conscious being. You know, it's not about, oh, you should do this and you shouldn't do that. It's more like, let's get back to the fundamentals.
Sure,
you know?
it's more like integrating both the masculine and the feminine into ourselves, as opposed to being feeling like they're diametrically opposed to each other. There's a balance between the two.
Yeah, and we need to, you know, and it's, there's some, you know, masculine energy, masculine embodiments, you know, who are in a physical masculine body, who, you know, are very in touch with their feminine,
right.
And some, you know, women in female bodies that are very disconnected and maybe are more in touch with their masculine.
It's funny because that's sort of the relationship between me and my wife. You know, she says that I'm the girl in the relationship and she's the guy. It's just the way that it's always been. You know, I'm the one that gets all emotional over movies or when sad stories come along or something like that, and I might tear up and start crying a little bit. And you know, she's, you know, oh well, no big deal. You know, I mean, it just kind of has always been that way. She's the guy, I'm the girl.
Yes, and it's great because we're kind of, you know, helping to trigger each other.
Right.
Recognizing the divine feminine isn't about women taking over. It's not some movement, you know, with the feminine gender. It's a recognition within all beings, men and women, of the feminine intuition and creativity coming out of exile, and the negative ego being purified to be raised to the vibration of Christ consciousness. And then we're embodying that greater hierogamic union of the Christ Sophia or the Shiva Shakti, whatever you want to call it. And every single one of us carries that divine template.
You're absolutely right there, Laura. I've seen it in my life. I've seen it in the lives of those that are around me as they've grown and changed. That's exactly what I've seen happening. It's like the guys that I know, they start getting in touch with that feminine side of themselves, and they start really recognizing that it's not about them, it's about everybody, and it's like something within that energy has been so missing out of our society for 2,000, 3,000, 4,000 years at the least.
Yeah. It's passed down, it's in our ancestral patternings. When we look at DNA damage, sometimes we think, oh, it's heart disease or it's cancer. It's like, well, what is the greater, larger picture of what this DNA thing is? Well, it's connected to a greater love story. So we have to be willing to divorce the imposters, divorce ourselves from the betrayers, the villain, and move into real authenticity and true love. And when you can give yourself that gift, you're going to reflect those outer kind of relationships, greater friends, soulmates, twin flames even.
Yep.
I don't like to label, but I'm telling you, soulmates, pretty simple. If we live on a soul level, we got our mateys. That's for sure.
I have definitely found mine in Jolene. That is for sure, without a doubt. And it's funny because she had an experience when she was young. She had a near-death experience, and she was on the other side and was given the choice of whether or not she wanted to go on, in that realm, or if she wanted to come back. And she was shown everything that was going to go on during her life, major events that were going to occur, up to and including the one that she was going to be together with, which was, ended up being me. And the weird thing is that now in her life, when we totally play argue, we don't even ever argue in any way, shape, or form. But when we kind of mock argue and that kind of thing, she'll say, I died for you and came back for you. I mean, you better appreciate me. And, but that's just how we've always been. We've always been that definite twin flame for sure. And it was not until I came to terms with, who and what I really am, as far as a soul is concerned, that I ran across this person in my life. Before then, I was in, horrible thing after horrible relationship. I went through 3, extremely bad marriages. And now I'm with this amazing person, and I could never imagine anything being less, And I'd love for people to get to that point in their own lives as well, where they have recognized that they can live differently than what they have been taught they should live like.
Totally. And the thing is, we get really disturbed by the conspiracy stuff, but we have to remember we're in a period right now of liberation, where the truth is horrifying, but it will help us to be set free. Look at the enslavement of our DNA to these controllers. How do we break free of it? By refusing to be treated less than we know we deserve. Well, what if we struggle with self-love? Well, let's start with recognizing the body as a temple, listening to the physical symptoms, and really giving ourselves the chance to take care of that. We have these greater, missions too. Not everything's going to make sense. People like you and me, we extend beyond just our own personal stuff. We go into something much greater, that is in service to the greater good of all. And I think everybody's got, that option, if they really want. But it's not like we're better or, it's very humbling. And there's things that can get ripped away from us in order to be able to remind people of certain things. You know what I mean? And I know that that's part of what your situation and my own has been.
Yeah, exactly. Now, we did have another question that came in, and they were wondering if you could go into the parasitic entities. What are those all about?
Well, we've got our archons. I mean, when we look at the galactic history, I mean, the fallen seraphim at war with the fallen Elohim. We've got archons, demiurge, and things that we might read in Gnostic texts. But when we, really look at, the parasitic, these darker control entities, traded in their 12-strand DNA potential. Dracos traded in 12-strand for 10, and factions of the Anunnaki traded in 12 for 11 strand, so that they could maintain control, so that they could trick us out of being able to get that activation that they're afraid that we're going to get, because then we kind of leave them in the dust and they don't have anything to feed on. So that's a little bit of a beginning right there.
Now, can they find information from you regarding all of this? Have you written anything or have anything available for people to get that kind of information from you?
Yeah, my book will be out soon, but the best way to really connect with me on this is to get a session with me. We'll look directly at your own charts, tarot, any questions you have. I'm also, I'm a consultant. I can mix it all up. But go to lauraeisenhower.com and, book a session, give it a try.
I love it. So with all of this in mind, what advice would you want to give out to people as far as ways that they can make changes in their lives to bring about that joining in themselves?
Just don't be afraid of yourself. Don't be afraid of your shadow. This is about light and dark integration. This is about masculine and feminine. This is about alchemical union, which creates a whole nother reality. When we look at alchemy, we're turning lead into gold. It's a completely different substance, but in order to do that, we can't deny the shadow. We can't be in judgment of any aspects of ourselves. We have to invite ourselves to really, integrate, be in wholeness, devote ourselves to the path towards greater balance, and let our higher self, run the show, but let the higher self become something that the lower vehicle can allow to occupy, so that we're steering the vessel of this human experience with wisdom, with love, with integrity. It's going to transform our health. It's going to change the world. There's going to be some shocking crises that might get our attention. It might be a lot right now for the physical body to completely do the shift. Just be patient. It's organically here. It cannot be destroyed, but we can be distracted away from it and we can get caught in traps. So be creative, express yourself, write. I work with clients and I give them great tools. And I'll work with your budget too. And I'm not trying to throw me in again with the sessions, but, just really get to know yourself, and dance and movement and nutrition. Minerals are really important right now for the DNA to be able to get the frequency downloads. There's all sorts of different things. Everybody's different though, but there's some general things that have been kind of kept from us that can make all the difference in the world that I like to explore and share in my presentations, but also with my one-on-one clients. So look at ways you can support the physical body, allow yourself to purge. Don't be afraid of the elements, your earth, air, fire, water. To gain balance, you have to be willing to accept where you are and who you are currently, or else we're in judgment or we're in denial or we shove things down, and that can lead to, harder things to heal later on. So let's just, not hold judgment on each other and our own inner processes. Let's cut ourselves a lot of slack. There's a lot of dark technologies and manipulations that have made it extra difficult. And let's just hold hands and do this. This is a time of rehabilitation for the human race. But we got to hold hands and we got to be a team here. That's what unity consciousness is right now. But you have to be authentic. You have to, really be willing to know who you are and how you operate. And just be bold also, and whatever about what anybody else thinks. For the most part, if they don't like something that you know is a positive, it's a program. Don't worry about it.
Well, I would definitely 100% agree with that. It's all about being honest with your own self and being self-aware to a point. I think writing helps a lot with that. Doing journaling and that kind of thing can definitely help out with that, to say the least. But that honesty with yourself is a really difficult process, because we do carry a lot of those shadows within. The problem is that when you don't face those shadows, they can really bite you in the butt, can't they?
Yes, exactly. And it can show up where, we might attract somebody who's abusive. I mean, I'm not saying that it's deserved, but we have to pull out the splinters so that we don't, attract things in the outer world to remind us of the things we still need to look at. And there is a connection with it all. I'm not going to, make that the ultimate philosophy, because, sometimes shit just happens and it's not because of something you internally hold. So I don't get stuck with, I'm going to stick with that philosophy and fix myself to it. But, a lot of the outer obstacles we see are based on a lot of our own inner resistances, because we're learning to get comfortable with ourselves again. We're learning what it means to go back into our natural habitat. We've been in captivity. You know what I mean?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. It's like things, I see things as lessons. Things seem to get progressively worse and worse when you don't learn the lessons, just so that you can try to break out of those lessons. That's the way it's always seemed to be in my life. It's like until I learn it, it just gets progressively more and more strong and more adamant for me to pay attention to it. And then once I finally do, and I've come to terms with it, or whatever the case may be, suddenly then everything gets relieved, everything is fine, and I've moved on into the next stage of my life.
Yeah, totally. And that's what an initiation is. We don't get taught this stuff, very easily, unless we were raised in an indigenous culture, or, we were able to kind of pull ourselves out of the matrix a bit. It's very difficult to access it, even though it feels so simple once we do.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, so going back to DNA, there was another question that came in from the chat for you. They were wondering if you know much about telomeres or their role as far as DNA is concerned, and what are your thoughts with it?
Nope, I don't know too much about that. So I don't want to waste anybody's time just
trying to figure it out. Yeah, I understand. Okay, no problem at all. So with these parasitic entities, now the first stage for that, what would you say is recommended to try to get those away from your life?
I would say, Epsom salt, even Himalayan salt. Whether you're soaking in a bath or taking a sack and filling it with Himalayan salt and putting it on a spot. Very common areas, which I would address no matter who you are, is top of the spine. Because that is the area where we start to move into our galactic chakras and monadic integration and hierogamic union. These controller groups want us to stay looping in this sort of 7 chakra system. But behind the neck, the mouth of God area, is where we experience that infinity spiral, and we begin to get those upgrades. And there are implants in most people to create frequency distortions to make it very difficult to perceive what that's all about. And those that can perceive it tend to get very psychically attacked. There's something connected to it where there'll be some sort of, energetic, it might be depression, feeling even suicide, just where you feel you just can't take that next leap. And the theft of feeling that next level is not available to you can create a lot of depression, but it is there, but we need to address it. So frankincense is good, top of spine as well. Lower spine, just to nurture that Kundalini, the Kundalini energy starts at the base, but the Kundalini goes all the way up to the 9th chakra. So for us to experience the full Kundalini activation, which is very difficult, it's important to address behind the neck, and I would work with essential oils for that.
That's a pretty good recommendation. I've noticed, when it comes to parasitic entities, one of the things I've noticed over the years, I'd love to get your thoughts with this. It's these little things that I've termed over the years little friends, and it's sort of an ironic term. They're definitely not friendly under any circumstances, but what they're almost like is almost like a psychic flea of sorts, where I'm able to see, well, not see, but I'm able to feel it out. Like if I run my hand just above someone's skin, there's like this a tingle. It's almost like they're a psychic tick. And what I've noticed is that these things seem to have an influence on people that they are attached to. They seem to have their own, I guess you could say, favorite flavors. So what they will do is they will inject into the person feeling angry or feeling upset or feeling depressed or whatever the case may be, as a way to feed off of the energy that they're giving off. And I've been able to remove those from people. And when I do, they've almost immediately noticed a big difference in themselves with that thing being gone. Now, have you encountered anything like that? Or is that sort of along the lines with what you're describing here?
Absolutely. And that's the work I do with clients. And I work with the chart to see where the entry points are. So we're looking at the whole body as an energy meridian map. There's particular spots, that are, okay, well, there's a concentration of attention here. And it relates to the stargates on Earth and the Earth grids. So, what's interesting is, when you neutralize something like that, you prevent the siphoning of your life force, which feeds these dark technologies. And when you start to call your energy back, you start to dismantle these things. I mean, sometimes it feels so daunting. How are we going to stop this? This agenda. We win the war within. We decide within. We have that one thing called free will. Even though we feel robbed, we have to remember we're still making choices every day. We can choose to, serve the temple as a body. We can serve humanity. We can, show up the best of ourselves to others. And if we don't feel like we're the best of ourselves, we can be honest, and that alone can knock out artificial intelligence. As simple as that. We're afraid of, walking that path. Sometimes, we look back at our childhoods. Maybe we were ridiculed, for holding a high spiritual vibration or being loving or being a powerful healer, and others noticed, and people that aren't in balance or in possession of themselves fully or aware of their own soul become, hosts for these darker entities. So we can get crushed by our friends, our partners, our parents. And so we just have to not take it personally and step away and just, really just take a second look at all this.
Yeah, I was told for many years that I was demonic for doing healing on people.
Oh my God. Yeah, that's just...
It makes no sense because a demon wouldn't do anything to help anybody out if it wasn't for their own purposes. So
bullshit. It's just crazy.
Yeah.
Programs. Just unbelievable.
So that's sort of the point. It's like are people almost like they're pre-programmed with these responses in them, or is there something that's actually controlling them in that moment in time to feel that way?
I think the spectrum's wide, and I think it's both. It depends who you are and where you're at with it.
Understandable. And again, that kind of goes into what I was describing earlier about looking like somebody's actually downloading, a patch file when you talk to them. It's weird, but it's just, I guess, the analogy that I come up with because I'm a computer techie kind of a guy, just the way that I've always been. So now I know that you have to go here real soon, Laura. So I'd like to give you time here to get out any kind of final information that you'd like to get out. Again, where can people find your works? Hello, I'm not sure if you're still there.
Lost me. Okay, so it's lauraeisenhower.com. And you should, be able to easily sign up for a session. The best times for me right now, I haven't updated my calendar, are Thursday and after. But, go ahead and book an appointment. If we need to adjust it, no problem, because I always check and just see what's going on with all that. I will be updating all this and my website, hopefully tonight. I just got back from a trip. I've got, a lot going on. 2 trips to Europe, 2 trips to Hawaii this next year. I think my next conference is Conscious Life Expo in Los Angeles. You can book a session there. It's around mid-February. So you might want to just Google that and see, if the timing works out. It's in, like I said, Los Angeles. You can get an in-person session with me. I'll be at New Living Expo in San Mateo. Free Your Mind conference in Philadelphia. I mean, there's just a lot of stuff. So I'm hoping to update my website, but I really hope you'll consider getting a session because it's really geared towards your empowerment, you recognizing how to give yourself your own medicine, and to get very familiar with what that means, because we have it. We have it within us. I don't have the, I'm not going to heal you, but I will guide you, into yourself so you know how to maintain, how to thrive, and also how to activate and recognize this window that we're in is not for some. It's available to all, but you have to decide that you're going to step up to the plate. The thing is, just like the immune system, it's not going to do all the work for us. Just like higher benevolent ET races, they're not going to save us. But if we can step up to the plate, we have all the help we could possibly need.
Absolutely. You sort of, you don't give them the keys to the kingdom, but you at least give them the tools to find out how to get those, right?
Yes. And so be very careful of controlling entities that make you feel like they need to do it or there's some sort of failure. Watch out for those terminologies that sound like duality. We're moving beyond duality. That pathway is there. If you're not ready for it, it's still going to be there. So, nothing to stress about, but I'm really here. I'm born to, play this role. I'm here to help you to recognize yourself so that you can, feel empowered to be in your role. But we all have a shared purpose, and that's to be authentic and to, embrace unity consciousness and to really, move out of this sort of lockdown, enslavement, betrayal. But, we have to be willing to see it and perceive it and take the necessary steps to move our physical body into a higher frequency. And so my talks and my session work is geared towards that. So I just want to thank you so much for having me, Ira.
Thank you for being here, Laura. I'll make sure to link everything up on our site for you, and I'll give you the links later on so that you can share them out if you'd like to.
All right. Sounds wonderful. It's been great to be here.
Thank you for being here, Laura. Awesome talk, and much love to you.
Much love to you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. So there you guys go. Laura Eisenhower. This was a really great conversation. I love the lady. She's an awesome, fantastic being here on this planet and doing a lot of really great work. We're going to go ahead and take a break here. And when we come back, we'll get into some discussion about some current events, some things that are happening around us right now. And don't forget as well, I will be live tonight, still broadcasting another 3 hours. I'll be part of the roundtable over there with Michael Vera on Late Night in the Midlands tonight, starting at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, right after my show is done. So lots more from me to go. Stick around, folks. We'll take your calls, 260-494-3937, Skype line JDA Film, and chat room, lnmradionetwork.com. See y'all in a few minutes.
Let me assure you that our priority will remain to ensure stability and security.
In order to ensure the security and continuing stability, security
for Canadians.
Galactic Empire!
So this is how liberty dies. With thunderous applause.
Attention L&M Radio Network listeners. Did you know that when you're on the road with limited data or Wi-Fi available, you can still listen to every minute of the L&M Radio Network by calling 605-562-4203? No smartphone app or internet needed. Saves your data plan and no extra cost if you have unlimited minutes. Call 605-562-4203 to listen to the LNM Radio Network on any phone, anytime, anywhere.
Brothers at Arms is not about being militant, though there is a time and place where that is necessary. Brothers at Arms is not about arguing, though there are times where things may get heated. Brothers at Arms is not about who is right or wrong. There are many sides to each issue. Brothers at Arms is about exploring those sides, about dealing with the issues facing us today, about coming together and, through opposing views, understanding the deeper truths that are in the middle. Join Ira Robinson and Joe Long each Thursday at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on LateNightInTheMidlands.com as these Brothers at Arms discuss what you need to know. Brothers at Arms, it's about time. Have you been looking for answers? Have you been seeking the truth but can't seem to find it? Late Night in the Midlands has the answers for you. Whether you are interested in the paranormal, aliens and UFOs, alternative health information, or just a little hope and inspiration, we have a show for you. Late Night in the Midlands, The Secret Teachings, Open Eyes, Red Pill Reality Show, Brothers at Arms, and many more shows. All here on the LNM network for you to listen to at any time that you want. Everything is free to listen to, and though it is not required, we are listener supported. and all donations are deeply appreciated. You will not find shows like these in the mainstream media. Go to latenightinthemidlands.com to listen. The L&M Network, where the truth has no fear.
This is TJ Sanfilippo, host of Navigating the River Styx. Join us each and every Thursday night at midnight here on Late Night in the Midlands Radio Network. Together, we will traverse the forbidden waters of the paranormal, the occult, our hidden history, conspiracies, and things that dwell in the darkness and the deep. Come, grab a seat by the fire away from the night that is closing in. I have tales to tell you. When the clock strikes 12, I invite you to join us here on Late Night in the Midlands Radio Network. Until then, stay safe.
The L&M Radio Network and Late Night in the Midlands depends on you, the listener. Without you, there would be no us. So help us continue to bring you the best guests with the best information, and subscribe today. Information on becoming an L&M subscriber can be found at the top of latenightinthemidlands.com. Just click the About Subscriptions tab and become part of the family while helping the truth stay alive. And while you're at it, maybe subscriptions aren't for you. A one-time donation helps as well. Click that donate button on the right side of latenightinthemidlands.com and help us help you.
Hello, folks. Welcome back to Open Eyes. My name is Ira Robinson. Tonight we're here with myself now. We had Laura Eisenhower on there, but she had to go at the top of the hour, so unfortunately we had to go a little short with her, but we'll definitely have her back on again in the future. She's a great person to have on, and I love discussing everything with her. If you guys want to call in tonight yourselves, 260-494-3937. Skype line is JDA Film. Chat room is over at lnmradionetwork.com or openeyesnetwork.com. And don't forget, we're also live streaming on YouTube tonight at youtube.com/C/openeyesnetwork. And we do have a call that's coming in here. Let's go ahead and bring them on in. 909 area code. Welcome to Open Eyes. Who's this?
Junkbox.
Hey, Junkbox. What's on your mind tonight?
Oh, I don't know. I was thinking of, I'll just start the round table, I guess. I guess other people are going to call in. I don't know how many calls you can have come in, but interesting synchronicity where in a friend of mine, her husband he recently passed away, great friend, and whatever. And so I went over to her house. She had a computer problem, which took all of 5 minutes to solve. But she just wanted me over there. And it was interesting. So we stayed up, well, the majority of the night, drinking wine, and maybe a little marijuana was involved. We don't know. And it was beautiful. And it was amazing. And I haven't seen her in so long. And it was just, it was amazing. And I'm finding that I'm finding it more and more coming back, where people that I don't normally, I mean, I just find it all compressing, if you will, that it's just happening, and it's cool.
I've seen that myself too, where it seems like, you know, I've talked before about the concept of time wave zero and how we seem to be kind of coming towards a singularity where it seems like time and events and the repetition of like the cycle of events seem to be kind of compressing together. And I've noticed that over the past, I don't know, maybe 10 to 15 years, but over the past year or so, it's really started to ramp up in a big way.
Yeah, it's been like a year or so that I've noticed it hard. Like I've always known it, but yeah, I mean, it's great. I think it's great, but you know, it's just so interesting to me that you know, I've just been noticing it. That's all.
That is really cool. That is really cool. And I love the idea too, because I think that it's opening people up, I guess, for second chances almost. Don't you think?
Yeah, I do actually. I think, yeah, I absolutely do. I think that it's opening people up to like, oh, you missed that one. You know, and then you get a second chance, essentially. I mean, in my mind, I don't know. But
I'm in agreement with you. It's not just you, that's for sure. Because I've seen it too.
Okay, cool.
I've seen it too. Yeah. It's like, that's kind of what I was going into with Laura there earlier about how it seems like the events that go on in our lives, these lessons, I guess you could say, at least that's how I put it, but I don't know if anybody else would. These events, these lessons, they keep cropping up on us, and it seems like they get stronger and stronger, or you know, bigger and bigger until we finally acknowledge them. You know, it's like, I guess I'm kind of weird like this, going in a weird direction here, but this is one of the ways that I look at things. If something inside of me hurts, for instance, I actually thank it. You know, I have this attitude of gratitude about everything because I thank it for giving me the information. Okay, thank you for letting me know. You can stop hurting now because now I'm aware of you, right? And usually it listens. Usually the pain diminishes, at least, you know, for the most part, and I can go on with my day, you know, and as long as I pay attention to whatever it is that was needing attention later, I'll do it. You know, same with worries. You know, I've always said that worrying doesn't do any good because it really is a waste of energy. If you're worried about something, then do something about changing your life to eliminate the need to worry. And if you can't do anything to change it, then don't worry because you couldn't do anything about it anyways. It's just a waste of energy. So when I have a worry or a concern coming up, again, I'm thankful for it because it's something that I'm obviously supposed to be paying attention to, but it doesn't have to run my life or you know, become the centerpiece of what my life is. I don't have to let it rule me.
Well, it's like you said, and you used the word splinter.
Yeah.
It's like a splinter. It's like, oh crap, I got a splinter.
Yep.
Well, okay. You know, yep, it's a splinter.
You can either leave it in there to fester or you can pull it out. But one way or the other, you know, something has to be done, right?
Correct. No, absolutely. Yeah. No, I dig it. Yeah, I mean, you know, but it was so healing and so beautiful, and she needed it as well. You know, I mean, her husband's just shortly gone, and it wasn't anything, you know, weird or sexual or anything like that. But she's an old friend, and it was just great. And, you know, and you know, she's like, you know, I miss you, and I was like, yeah, I know, I miss you too, man. But there's other factors that, you know. But ultimately, all we did was sit around and drink wine and smoke weed. But it was great, and it was amazing, and it was perfect, and it was what it was. And I was so special, and I was happy to be there. And, you know, she needed it, and it was cool, like, that I was able to provide that. And that's what some people do. It
goes into this idea that everything that happens in life happens for a reason. There's a purpose for it. The loss that was in her life facilitated the two of you coming back together again and sharing that moment together. And that could be a life-changing experience for both of you and allow you to grow in different ways that you would not have done otherwise. So if it was not for the husband passing away, that event wouldn't have been able to happen. And again, it becomes part of the greater overarching story that the universe itself is telling.
No, totally agreed. Totally agreed. And I'm sorry that Laura had to go so soon. Great guest, man. I mean,
yeah, she's awesome, definitely.
Yeah, but whatever. It is what it is. Well, it is. And yeah, just amazing. Anyway, I'm totally enjoying I'm working on my own website right now, and so I've been doing it for the last 3 nights, not getting very far. And but it's been great, man. The shows have been great.
Well,
and
thank
plus
you.
It's snowing balls up here.
Yeah, I saw you say that in the chat room there earlier, that it just keeps on snowing.
Dude, it's not stopping. So I really have nothing to do. So, brilliant.
Well, thank you so much for calling in. I definitely appreciate it. We do have another call that's coming in that I need to go ahead and grab, but you're welcome to stay on if you want to.
Yeah, sure. Why not?
Okay, cool. The next call, I think, is actually coming in from Katie or Daryl. I think it's Katie that's calling in now. Are you guys there?
Hi, Ira. How are you?
It is a Katie. Hi, Katie. How you doing tonight?
It is me. I am definitely female.
What's on your mind tonight, Katie?
Yeah, we were just going to call in, well, me in particular, to give you a little rundown of me being on the ground at Inauguration Day.
Yeah, you were at ground zero, so to speak, weren't you?
Yeah, no, we came back home, and then we saw all of these rioting, and we're like, huh, really? That was there? Apparently, it was actually only 2 blocks down from where we were. However, in saying that, what we did smell was tear gas.
Okay.
We did actually smell it in the air, but it just kind of vaporized after a couple of hours. I mean, we were out there for a couple of hours.
I know that
we didn't actually go to the inauguration whatsoever, only being the fact that it was raining. And we figured that, metro transport is quite hectic. I mean, the subways they were full of military, police, the whole, the whole shebang. But everybody, the crowd, was actually quite, loving. This is when you go into a crowd and you're not sure if you can talk to the next person or say hello as a friendly gesture, that kind of thing. Well, when we went there, we felt a sense that we could literally talk about anything, and hug one another as if there was a sense of unity. It really
Which hasn't
was.
been seen for a really long time, right?
Yeah, it really was, and
especially
I think
in Washington,
people were exercising their freedom. Now, another thing is that Black Lives Matter were they were wearing their hoodies, to obviously proclaim who they were, protesting on behalf of. Even if they were protesting, it didn't seem so, because a lot of them were just walking straight past and not saying nothing, literally not saying anything. And a lot of even the protests that did happen earlier today, I'm assuming that it was after the inauguration or during. It's not going to help anybody. It really wasn't. It didn't disrupt anything. And in actual fact, it done more damage to the local, the local department stores and stores that were around that area.
Yeah, I saw Starbucks had their windows broken out. There was a Bank of America that had its windows broken out, and a couple of other businesses did too. And as far as the tear gas goes, I think that the police ignited some tear gas after some people were catching things on fire and blowing up flashbang grenades into the crowds.
Don't forget the police cars, too. They were lighting police cars on fire.
Were they? I didn't run across that. So you saw that happening?
We didn't see anything on fire.
We're doing
whatsoever.
a four-way, I think.
The funny thing is that we saw, and in actual fact, looking back at what we saw, we probably saw more military police, Secret Service, police officers from far and wide. We saw some from Maine, New Jersey, Florida, Texas. The Texas Rangers were there.
I know the bikers for Trump were
and
down
in
there
actual
too.
fact, there were probably more security than there were people.
You know, it's kind of funny. I was going to bring that up actually. That and by the way, we do have DC that called in as well, so he's joined in with the call on us as well. Hi, DC.
Hi.
Hey, babe, how's it going, man?
The thing is, as far as this whole
Friday.
Yeah, exactly. No Obama Day. The whole thing that's crazy to me is the people that are down there to try to cause, these violent protest kind of things, the anarchists, so to speak, and the rioters, as opposed to the protesters. You guys know I have no problem with protesters. I think it's a useless gesture. There's better
as long as it's peaceful.
Yeah,
but when they start to riot and set stuff on fire and throw bricks at police, that's why I'm going to draw a line. I'm going to arrest every one of them bastards.
Exactly. And the thing is, when I don't think people are really conscious of, this is not Kansas City, this is not St. Louis, this is not LA, this is Washington, D.C., the centerpiece of the FBI, the CIA, the NSA, the Pentagon, on and on. These people don't mess around. These people don't mess around.
Let them out the back gate and find the landmines. And they're done that, babe. There's 2 fences around Gitmo. There is. There's a first fence on the U.S. side, and there's a second fence on the Cuban side.
Right.
And there's landmines in between the 40-foot space in between, and nobody knows where there are.
Yep. Katie, what were you going to say?
See, I understand people have a need to protest, and that's just exercising your freedom
Sure.
to speak.
Absolutely no problem with it. Yep.
The problem is that
when it goes into violence,
we're going from racial segregation to political segregation. Now we're going into straight anarchy. And I actually said to Daryl, I said, take note of something. Have you noticed that the buildings and stuff that we're seeing on the media being broadcasted, that are being, glass being shattered and all that kind of stuff? Have you noticed one thing? Take note of the Baltimore riots that happened. Okay, what did they go and smash? They smashed the CVS, they smashed the Ace Express branch, and then you go and look at DC, look at now, which is almost a year later or more. Now you're seeing banks being smashed into. The first building that they actually smashed the windows of was a bank, the Bank of America. I'm finding it a little coincidental that the similar buildings are being smashed into. Now, we all know on the backside that a lot of these protesters are actually being funded by Soros.
Oh, yeah, without doubt. Yep.
I mean, that. But the funny thing is,
if I was Trump, I'd be doing an investigation on him.
Well, see, the thing is that all of these protesters that are protesting peacefully, they are protesting peacefully, and the thing is that a lot of them do want to be peaceful about it. But then you get all these nut jobs that want to be anarchists who think that they know better. The problem is that you're in a nut job. In the back of my head, if I truly wanted to be an anarchist, I wouldn't certainly do it in a federal city full of military police, military, Secret Service.
That was my point. Yeah.
It is a federal city. You are going to be slammed. You're not going to be slammed with a state issued arrest. You're going to get a federal arrest with federal charges.
Exactly. It's you're getting sent to federal pound me in the butt prison. I mean, that's what it comes down to.
Yeah.
Wow.
Let him down and Gitmo.
Using office.
I'm going to chime in.
Using office space. Yeah, go ahead, JB.
You try somebody else now?
So,
let's get up this 6-way.
So here's my deal on it. Now, you got the dudes who are being blamed for doing it. We know that much. Okay, it's the normal people, quote unquote. Okay, but then you have the dudes who actually did it. Like nobody that I know has bombs or fire bombs or anything like that. And yet those are the ones being blamed. Who are the dudes in the black hoods? Well, I mean, they're wearing black hoods, which means they're hiding their identity. So then when can we admit that those are the dudes who are doing it?
What about the Santa Claus that was maced last night? I'm still looking for the video on that.
But I mean, that's what I'm saying. It's like, it's not normal people doing it. Just as you were attending to.
We know. For instance, the Disrupt J20 came out publicly speaking many times about the violence that they were going to be enacting during the inauguration process and the weekend here, and that's one thing that I'm trying to pay attention to is today was not really going to be the big spark as far as the protests and that kind of thing are concerned. They're looking more for tomorrow and Sunday to be the bigger events because I guess from what I understand, there were 1,800 permits given out for buses to be brought into the city, meaning that about 100,000 people more are going to be coming in, and this is going to be part of a bigger gathering, basically, to do protests against Trump.
All funded by Soros?
Likely. Wouldn't be surprised.
He's got $100 million. I mean, might as well blow it because the Clinton Foundation went down the tubes today.
Good.
Needs to happen for sure.
You know what I did? Daryl and I happened to see a vendor that happened to be selling T-shirts. And we went around and got our commemorative badges and beanies and T-shirts and anything you possibly think of, any freebies that you could possibly get too while you're at it because everything is so expensive. But in saying that, we did find one vendor and he was giving out CNN Lies.
Yes, I saw that shirt on Facebook when you posted that. I love it. I want one.
Yeah, and you know what? I figured
there's also a pic of CNN Live with you on there, Katie, I think, or somebody. It was on the chat, too.
Yeah, that was me. That was me, because the reason why I posted that was actually to show people that when I figured, well, hang on, I've got to do this. And since everybody else is peacefully protesting, I'm going to do something. Just to test the theory, right? Just to see what public perception really actually was here in D.C. Why not? Of all days. So what I did is the guy was fast running out of T-shirts, so he managed to have an XXL size, and I figured, well, hang on, this is going to fit over my jacket. It was wet and raining, so I figured I'd slip it over my jacket, see what happens. Anyway, so here I am walking down the street, and I'm thinking, hang on, who's going to attack me first? Sure as hell wasn't going to be the media. But you know what? The first person after I bought that shirt. The first person that came up to me was, lo and behold, a senator and his son. He came up and gave me a fist punch, a knuckle punch, whatever you call them, gave me a handshake and said, now that is a T-shirt that I like.
Nice.
And of course, we spot business cards and all that kind of stuff. We were talking about it. And we definitely mentioned about L&M and all that kind of stuff. He was quite intrigued, really.
That's cool.
And then we got into a brief conversation about how society is and all that kind of stuff, and the media and the mainstream media and all that kind of stuff. And he literally said, I can't believe how free we are right now. He stood right in the middle of the road, and he literally, this is in front of everybody, and he said, it is about time that we're able to exercise our right for freedom of speech, because right now, me as a senator, I am comfortable to speak about anything right now.
That's amazing. And that right there,
any prejudice.
That right there is exactly why he got put into office. Because the people are sick and tired of being told you can't talk about this or you can't talk about that.
But they're also, Ira, there's a fine line between freedom of speech and then going over the line and threatening.
Oh, sure, absolutely.
As you well know.
You can't go into crowded theater and yell fire unless there's actually a fire. There's a reasonableness on First Amendment speech, right? It has to be used wisely. And again,
yeah, but it's common sense.
Right, exactly. And I've said many times, if going with that, just throwing this in here, if you use your First Amendment right to violate the Second Amendment rights of somebody, your First Amendment rights are going to swiftly go the way of the dodo, because the only thing keeping those First Amendment rights in place is the Second Amendment rights. So people have to be very cautious of using their First Amendment right as well. But I think that what you said there, Katie, is really important, because, again, people have gotten very sick and tired of being told, because of political correctness, your ideas cannot be spoken, whatever it may be, So me, as a person that saw, wrong happening in this country, I was getting, constantly called to the mat by people. You're not supposed to say that. You're not allowed to say who?
And you know what? I managed, I don't know, of all the merchandise that you could possibly get, I managed to pick up a commemorative, trophy medal, the one that you can, with the ribbon on it and everything.
Oh, okay, yeah.
I have photos of it, but it's like a replica of the badge kind of thing. But the guy we brought it from, now this is a African American man. He had been on the Trump campaign trail for over 6 months. We were talking to him about, how things are and all that kind of stuff, and the fact that Trump won and he was inaugurated today into office. And you know what? He said this has been a long, hard 6 months of his entire life. He goes, so many people are poor.
Yep.
So many people are without their rights. So many people are suffering. And he broke down in tears. Daryl and I had to give him a hug, literally, just to let him know that everything will be okay. People are literally, when you get that overwhelming feeling that you've had a long and arduous journey, then you suddenly come to the realization that it's over.
It also comes down to all greed.
He was not afraid. He was not afraid at all to break down and just cry.
Right there on the street. Yep.
Yep. He was right on the street.
I'll tell you what, one of the things I just ran across, I'd like to get your guys' thoughts on this. Obama. See, I've got to get used to saying the new president's name. Trump.
Obama flew off in the sunset.
You used the naughty word.
Don't even talk to him about that anymore.
Trump just
I was looking for
signed,
the wood chipper to come up and grab the helicopter and chew him up.
Trump just signed his first executive order as president. And that is to put an immediate freeze on any new regulations being created.
Oh, damn. Wow.
That's his first step as president.
I thought that was
wow. When he got into that Oval Office, the first thing he was doing was he was signing all of those documents, and he was signing away all of the presidential executive orders that Obama brought in.
I thought the first one that he signed was to have his general that's only been retired 3 years, because the Constitution says you can't be a Department of Defense general until 7 years after retirement. I thought that was the first one.
Nope, the first one was his freeze on new regulations. Now, he has signed a couple of others as well.
Ira. I don't even know what no new regulations. Okay, well,
what regulations?
Hell, okay, cool. I mean, I'm down with that. I'm just saying.
I am too. I am too. The reason why I'm down with it is because, every year, 1,500, at the minimum, 1,500 new regulations are created by our federal government. And, you as a person, just like the laws, you're supposed to know every single one of those. You're supposed to be obedient to every single one of those. So whatever business you're in, or whatever, state of commerce you're doing, or, just your interactions every single day, you have to be compulsory with these different regulations. So I'm glad that first step was there. I mean, he made a promise on the campaign trail that what he wanted to do was to down the amount of regulations that are on the books.
Yeah, but that's crazy. No, there's not to be any more. I love it. I'm not saying it. I love it. I think it's great. It's just wow. Okay. Wow. That's all.
Good first step, I think.
Yeah. It's definitely a first step.
Does anyone know if the Obamacare website still crashed?
That's only within a couple hours. Damn. Imagine what he's going to do over 4 or 8 years. Woo!
Damn. Wow.
I know he also did away with or signed another one in regards to Obamacare, but I'm not sure exactly what that one's about yet. I haven't had a chance to look into that since we're on the air live, But I know that he signed another one in regards to Obamacare. So if somebody out there has info as far as that goes and wants to let us know, please let us know.
Well, going back to when I was wearing the T-shirt, the CNN Live T-shirt, you know what's really funny? I had people wanting to take photos with me. I had horns honking at me, car horns giving me the thumbs up. I had people going, "Hey, that's a great shirt." Where do you get them from?
At least you didn't get the middle finger.
You know, public perception, like I said, public perception is really starting to change. They're really starting to realize what is really out there and how things have really been. I think a lot of people have been blindsided by the fact that society isn't all up to what it's supposed to be and what it should be, really.
Amen.
Yeah, as I said, it's a different tone today compared to what it was yesterday and even a week ago, where we now have more people like you were saying, Katie. They're on the street. You were there in the middle of it all, and you're seeing people, crying. You're seeing people not in fear and not in terror or agony, but in happiness that they're actually able to now. Be able to voice their opinions or be able to voice their thoughts and the relief.
It's release. It's release. It's release. It's release, Ira. That's what it is. It's release.
The biggest force out in the street today that was totally against Trump is the feminists, and that's because they have their women's march tomorrow. So,
right.
So these protests might just heat up a tiny little bit. Because you're going to have all these feminists walking the street going, Trump did this, Trump did that, Trump's
somebody
and he's against women and this, that, and the other.
Somebody in the YouTube chat room here just a little bit ago was saying that now that Trump's in, they're upset that Trump's in because he's done nothing but spread hatred. And I asked the question in the YouTube chat there, what exactly hate has he himself spread? Show me the examples of where he has said hateful remarks on a general basis, unless it's directed at at specifically somebody that has attacked him. He has done nothing to breed hatred or anything along those lines. It's the spin. They're cherry picked words, but if you look at the context of outside of that cherry picking, you're going to see. Wait a minute, no, that's not exactly what they were just telling me he meant. Maybe something's not here, So you see what I'm saying?
Exposing hate does not make you hateful.
Right.
If you expose hate, that doesn't make you hateful. You're just exposing it. That's all. Right.
But not only that, you're also teaching the younger ones who really don't know anything, I shouldn't say that. They really don't know enough about politics in order to make an assumption about it. And now you're teaching the whole division on race, color, creed, politics to them, and now they're protesting for what? I'm not even sure
they
if they really know what they're protesting for.
That's what I don't understand. What's the protest for? I mean, to get their 15 minutes of fame and get put in jail and have a rap sheet.
Even the media here has said it really hasn't disrupted anything. It's just in more so that it's actually caused a lot of destruction of property, vandalism.
Yeah, if anything, they're the ones that have done the most damage so far. In their quote unquote wanting to avert disaster. You know, it's like they're the ones that are bringing disaster. They're the ones that are trying to foment disaster to occur.
Correct.
So I'm going to carefully watch and see how the J20 turns out.
Yeah, me too.
I really am.
Me too.
Because I can guarantee you, if that does pan out to the way it's going to be another Baltimore riot. It literally is. And it's not going to look good on whatever community may be involved.
What I'm seeing, or what I see as the potential for what's happening, is they're trying to do what they can do to get the police to react to them. And then they can take pictures or videos saying, see, now that Trump's in office, we're all in trouble. Look at the violence that's already occurring, on and on and on. Because they can put that face on it, you see. That's what they're trying to do. They're trying to foment the problems between themselves and police so they can then use that as their poster children, so to speak, to cause more issues down the line. To say, here, we were right about Trump.
We should hire that chick from Sandy Hook.
Yeah,
she looked really good on the.
Yeah, she's been at every other event. Why not, right?
Yeah, why not? I mean, what the hell, No, but you're right, though. You're absolutely right. Problem, reaction, solution, and
you got it.
There's no problem.
You got it. As far as the Baltimore thing, you've brought Baltimore up here a couple of times, Katie. I want to play an audio clip here for you guys. This is the Baltimore mayor talking about how the police there needed to make room for people to destroy. Here you go. Take a listen.
Cool. Gave those who wished to destroy space to do that as well, and we worked very hard to keep that balance and to put ourselves in the best position to de-escalate, and that's what you saw. Listen, I am going to protect people's right to protest. The fact that people exploited that does not mean that I do not have an obligation to protect people's right to protest. I never say, nor would I ever say, that we are giving people space to destroy our city. So my words should not be twisted.
She said exactly that.
Hang on. Muriel Bowser just mentioned that in the same speech that they did for D.C. tonight.
Yeah.
What? That don't make any sense. What is it? They're playing from the same spiel.
Exactly
same
correct.
Thing.
Exactly correct. It's the same script, same authors. It's crazy, guys. It really is. I'm glad to see it being No Obama Day. I'm glad to see that guy gone. Of course, he's still going to have a lot of influence because there's so many people out there that are still going to listen to what he says, and he's going to go, and instead of being on the campaign trail, he's going to go on the speaking tour in his time here in America, between him living in the mansion in Belize and coming back here to the United States.
Golf games.
In between golf games, yeah.
At least I'm glad for one thing. We're not paying for his golfing trips.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
One question comes to mind is, are we paying for his vacation?
The current vacation? The current vacation? No, because he's no longer the president, so anything from this point forward comes out of his pocket or out of grants.
We paid it out. I mean, fairly certain we have. But, okay. So, yes, we're still paying for it, but just not, overtly.
As it comes out of his retirement fund.
Yep, pretty much. Pretty much. I mean, the citizens are still going to pay for it because we're paying for his yearly stipend that he gets now that he was president, so.
Yeah. Okay, kids, I'm out. I'm going to go. Great show as always, Ira. Thank you. And thank you to everyone who called in. Thanks to everyone, everything.
Well, thank you so much, JB, for calling in. We appreciate it.
No, you got it, man. Anytime.
You have a great night and be safe.
You missed your last break.
No. I took it a little early because Laura left a little early, so.
Oh, well.
So
who else is on the line here? Are we doing a three-way or a four-way or a five-way now?
Well, at the moment it's three of us. It's yourself, Doug, and Katie and myself. So.
Oh, okay. So we're doing three-way. Woohoo!
So with the protests that are going on in DC over the weekend, Isn't there one for Native Americans for the Dakota Access pipeline?
There are some that are there specifically to try to make awareness up as far as the pipeline issue is concerned, but they're not actually doing any protests against Trump, as far as I'm aware. They're just there basically trying to make sure they can get some, camera time, basically, is what it comes down to. So.
I know you can kind of be a media whore right now in DC.
Oh, sure. It's funny.
Literally be a media whore.
It's funny because with the protest thing going on, Katie. Here, let me throw this out here, because when I was watching some of the video earlier of people burning some stuff, people were burning like trash cans and mailboxes and stuff, or newspaper boxes. Sorry, and as I was watching it, I had to laugh because I'm sitting there looking at this and all I see is news reporters and people with their cameras, doing this picture stuff. It was all reporters. It's like the protesters, half the group is nothing but reporters that are there to try to capture an image of somebody doing something stupid. So, their numbers are not even as high as what is being claimed. It's mostly just reporters that are hanging out down in that area.
It just makes you wonder whether there's just two people there causing a ruckus and 20 reporters there to capture an entire situation.
Yeah.
And they were going to exaggerate the story to make sure to tell everybody that there's this big group or mob that
look at all these people
is causing destruction and this, that, and the other. I'm sitting there going, because we came home and we're like going, what? This really happened? Are you serious? I didn't see any of this.
I saw there was
it was quiet.
At last count, from what I could see, there have been 217 arrests so far down there in Washington, but I don't know if that's the new numbers or if that's still old numbers.
It was 200 plus
I'm not
last time
sure,
I
but
checked.
numbers are going to be skewed quite dramatically because
Yeah.
last night when the welcoming ceremony concert was on, MSNBC were trying to tell everybody that only 10,000 people turned out. The park police that were there, they said that that they weren't going to disclose the number of people that were at the concert whatsoever. But there was another network that said that there were over 400,000 people that were there. And yes, it wasn't as big as Obama's turnout and all that kind of stuff. But the atmosphere there was great. It really was great. And the thing is that if a lot of people they were bringing the whole concert down, saying it was lame, it wasn't fit for they were comparing it to Obama. They really were. They were comparing it to Obama, and they were saying that good riddance that these people, these actors and artists and all that kind of stuff are pulling out due to a political view and all that kind of stuff. How many people really actually follow a celebrity for their political view?
Well, it's funny enough, Katie, that you bring that up because one of the things that's on Duct Tape Nation tonight after Michael's show, Late Night in the Midlands, is Joe and I discussing that exact topic for quite a bit, as well as a lot of other things to go along with it. But we're definitely getting right into exactly that whole topic alone and what happened at the inauguration concert and stuff. Which that's never been a thing. That's something new that Trump did. That was a party that he put on for the people. That's never been done.
It really hasn't, and it was great. It really was great. And a lot of the song choices that they had were uniquely American song choices. And like I said on Michael's show last night, Daryl and I were approached by a reporter who wanted to ask the same question about what our opinions were about these artists and singers and that pulling out at the last minute. And I said, well, they'll have fans. They will have followings. But, like I said, who's following them for their political stance? I sure as hell ain't following Meryl Streep for her political views. I'm not going to be.
Me also.
We like them for their music.
Right.
We like them for what they are good at, not what they talk about. But the funny
Music
thing, I mean,
is the universal language.
Yep, exactly.
hang on. You would maybe it might be a different stance if I was to follow you two. Bono with the things that he does. But that's not going to change my perception about his music.
Right.
And why or why not he should not be there or be there.
Right, exactly. Now, we do have another call that's coming in here. We want to go ahead and grab it here real quick in the few minutes that we have left. I do believe this is Tom that's calling in. Hello?
Hi, Tom.
Hi, how are you?
Hi, welcome to Open Eyes, Tom. How you doing?
Yeah, pretty good. It's been a bit of an interesting day here, but yeah, just all the news articles here have just been showing just riot stuff. So I actually had to search online for
something decent
and that. So
I know I just ran across one that says Trump, now president, pledges to put America first in a nationalist speech. His speech was populist and nationalistic, according to this article. It's like, wow. Okay.
Yeah, so.
Now,
days.
Tom, being that I'm an Australian and you're an Australian, I've heard from my family back home about the mainstream media doing their news reports and things like that, and especially about Clinton and the whole campaign, election campaign trail. Would it be true in me saying that that a lot of the media reports have been quite depressing about the whole election in general?
Yeah, it's been very much like all the people who sit at the news desks and that the anchor people have just been going on about how it's an end of this or an end of that, and not really giving any hope to anyone or any positive feedback. It's been pretty negative. But the only news I actually see is when I'm actually at my parents', because I live off the grid and we've only got internet. We don't have a TV aerial, so which is good, which is why I have to search for all my news. So, but yeah, it has been quite negative.
That's sad to me to hear. It really is, because he just got in. Nothing literally has happened yet. He just got in. I did a post on Facebook earlier today, saying that despite people's fears, the moment that Donald Trump got inaugurated, his hair did not fly off of his head and go screeching with the nuclear codes to the nearest silo to blow up the world, nor did he scream about the people that have been against him being put into FEMA camps, again, despite all the people's fears. Literally nothing has happened yet. It's crazy how much people have been responding in this really weird fear mode, and again, it's all driven by the mainstream media.
Sells. That's what it is. Fear sells.
Yep, it sure does. It gives them clicks. That's what it comes down to. It gives them clicks.
It really changes I mean, you go outside of this country and they don't talk about race. We identify ourselves as nationality. And politics, we don't really talk about, politics unless you're a diehard, political fan. And then on top of that, you have, being here in America, the patriotic. Okay, a lot of people are patriotic, but they're not as patriotic. They're patriotic, diverse. In other words, they will flip the coin the way that they want it to suit the way that they want, according to what the popular, the popular vote, the popular mainstream media. They take their view according to what is in the media at that time. It's a bit like following a celebrity. Oh, let's follow a celebrity because of their view,
right,
or what they're wearing.
Yep, exactly. Well, guys, I do need to get an end to the show going here. I am going to be live on Late Night in the Midlands here in about 5 minutes or so afterwards as well. And you guys are welcome to call in on that show tonight, too, if you so desire to.
Well, we were just trying to keep you awake and active and everything else. That's why we're all calling in.
I definitely appreciate the love, guys.
See ya.
You guys have a great night. Be safe. Have fun. And thanks, guys, for calling in, as always. We love you.
You're very, very welcome.
Talk to you guys soon.
If it isn't fun, it's work, babe.
You got it exactly. You got it exactly.
Bye.
Bye-bye, guys.
Bye, Tom.
So there you guys go. Thank you again for calling in tonight, and thank you for tuning in tonight with Laura Eisenhower. We will definitely have her back on again in the future. And if you guys want to go to the archive of this show, it's going to be over at openeyesnetwork.com. You can also find the archive over at youtube.com/c/openeyesnetwork. And we'd love for you guys to hit the subscribe button over there on our YouTube channel. That way you guys can get notified of when we put out a new show, or when we put out a new video, or when we go live. And we go live Monday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Again, we'll be live on my channel tonight at midnight Eastern Standard Time. So in about another 3 hours or so, we'll be on with you guys again with Duct Tape Nation. We've got a big, busy day for you guys tonight. So hopefully you guys come on over to lnmradionetwork.com and tune in over there as Michael Vera does Late Night in the Midlands. It's going to be a really great show. We've got a nice roundtable set up to talk about all things Trump, and should be very interesting. Hopefully you guys will go on over there. If you guys want to send me an email, feedback@openeyesnetwork.com is my email address, and we'll take anything. If you guys want to be a guest, we'll definitely have you on, especially if you're an author. If you're an author, we'd love to have you guys on as well. So sending out the invite to all of you folks out there involved in that kind of situation. But if you have a story that you want to tell, definitely get a hold of us. Social media, Open Eyes Network on all of the different platforms out there. And yeah, join with us. So again, midnight Eastern Standard Time tonight. We'll be back with you guys, Duct Tape Nation. That'll be a live show, and you guys will have a good old time. Until next time, keep safe out there. Have fun. Thank you so much for listening, and don't get involved in all the stupidity that's going on out there. We'll talk to you again soon.